Hey, I'm ElusiveKev, welcome back to MotoGP 18, where Mario McDonald, he's had a superb start to the season, but he had to battle hard in Jerez, where he have an easier time around the Bugatti circuit in Le Mans. So here goes Mario then for the first of two possible qualifying efforts here in France, around a very tricky circuit. High speed in parts and then heavy braking zones in others, as he's a bit wide already. And into the first chicane. We've gone under the famous Dunlop Bridge here in Le Mans. Instead of going left, we go right onto the Tristia Bugatti circuit, a much shorter circuit. And the famous one for the 24 hours. But this circuit's actually pretty nice on the motorbike. It suits the motorbikes pretty well. It did not suit the F1 cars. Back in, I think, 1967, all the drivers complained how boring the circuit was. Definitely not boring on a motorbike. Especially when you've got sections like this. The double right. Always a favourite dive bomb for some riders. And then you've got this long straight heading into the chicane, where if you get a good run through the chicane, you set up another overtaking move into this right hand. We've seen this in the past between Rossi and Vinales, most famously in recent years. We saw the Yamaha pair try and battle last time out in Jerez. And then Mario came through and just swept them all up, apart from Marquez. Superb ride from the Honda rider, as 30.4 for Mario. Maybe wants to dip into the under the 130 mark. Make it through. So there we go, a bit better into the chicane. Very tricky braking uphill as well. You would think braking uphill will help, but kind of leaning a lot on the bike as well. And he's 3/10 up for already as Mario. Now around that right hand, you have to wait so long to get on the power. Into the left hander. Don't hit that apex too early, otherwise, as you can see, you go a bit wide. It's all about being smooth on the power, heading into this double right hander. Brake early. Do not be aggressive into this corner, otherwise you go a bit wide like that. So there goes Mario's 4/10. He was gaining this lap, but he wasn't so good in this final sector, his previous attempt. He's already run right in chicane. And he's still 3/10 up though. Let's go for the right. The camber really does help you in that corner. Not into this left, where he pushes you wide. Be careful on the power. With this double right as we rejoin the long circuit. There towards the line is a 29. As he joins his former teammate Petrucci through to qualifying 2 ahead of Rabat. Nakagami with another decent qualifying, and Smith on the 5th row ahead of Paul Espargaro, Pedrosa and Aisha Spargo out qualifying Redding. We've got Morbidelli, Surin and Baptista, and there is Redding alongside Luti and Simeon on the 8th row. Disappointing for the Brit. And then Abraham in 15th, especially as Redding just scored his first point of the season. So let's see if Mario can grab another pole. So here goes Mario then. For his only qualifying effort in qualifying 2. He's got to nail it first lap. Like he just nailed it on that second lap. You can see braking very early in this first section. Much more flowing. Much better lines there. Struggling for traction a bit out of the hairpin. Or out of the chicane, shall we say. Heading into the hairpin. He's 7/10 up. You take that, that'd be a 28. That would definitely be pole. As he goes into that left hand, a bit of a later apex, again battling the traction, getting hard on the power. And now apparently he's a second up. Now this is a section where he messed up in qualifying 2, or qualifying 1 on his second lap. So he's no doubt gained a couple of tenths there. He's gained a couple of tenths there maybe as well through the chicane. Much smoother, much better than he was in qualifying 1. He's really gaining on one of his former teammates. He's going to the final section. Looks like Mario's producing once again when he needs to. It's nice and smooth on the power. It's a 29 flat. As he's on pop over half a second ahead of Marquez and Dovizioso. It's Vinales and Rossi and Rins on an all blue liveried second row. And it's Lorenzo, Crutchlow and Iannone with Zarco, the home hero, ran out the top 10 ahead of the Pramac twins of Petrucci and Miller. So for Mario, all he needs is a good start and he could be getting his 3rd victory of the season. So here's Mario revving up, hoping for a much better start than he had in Jerez. Sets the lights go out for 9 laps here in France. And he's already getting crowded by the Lorenzo with Vinales, Rossi. And Suzuki, or is that Rins? It's Mario trying to play the outside line, so he has the inside for the chicane. Doesn't quite work out as Petrucci takes himself out. So go like 3 or 4, 5 right into that first chicane. Somehow Mario's come out of it in 4th in a Suzuki sandwich. Behind wins but ahead of Iannone, while it's Marquez and Dovizioso at the top. It's a great start for Alicia Spargo as they're up into 14th behind Tito Rabat. It's now Jack Miller ahead of Iannone behind. Jack Miller once again with a fantastic start for the Australian. So Mario a bit wide there. Just about holds on for Maverick Vinales though. And seeing Iannone battle hard along with Miller. What is going on behind? It's like a free fall for 5th. And it's opening that. Mario in the slipstream of Rins. Dives down the inside. Does he dive too far? Rins will respond. Mario says get out of here on all Rins. Did Mario cut the course to keep position there? That's what the stewards will look at. Well, it doesn't matter now. Rins just slunk it down the inside. As smooth as ice there. As you've got Dovi and Marquez racing away. Vinales winning the battle for 5th. And here comes Vinales with a dive. Mario says no. Vinales disrespects that. He's got Kay Abraham and Petrucci battling over 24th. Now Petrucci had a Scott Redding down in 24th. What a terrible outing for the British. Here comes Vinales down the inside of Mario like he isn't even there. But the KTMs are battling over 12th. Paul Sprague ahead of Bradley Smith. And now here comes Zarco with just a dive out of nowhere. Same for Jack Miller. Let's Crutcher up to 22nd ahead of Petrucci. They got Franco Morbidelli up to 16th as Lucia Spargo falls down the field. And Mario down the inside of Miller. Just like that. Down the inside of Zarco as well. Tries the old inside for the left-hander. This time, does he get it right? He does. You can see the rear battling for traction, though. He goes a bit wide. Zarco mugs him, does he? No, Mario's got him on the exit as Vinales gets rid of Rins. As he goes on to the 3rd lap. It's like Rins is starting to fall down. Oh my god! What a massive crash with Vinales. They're taking each other out now. Zarco's battling for a podium on home turf. What a strange crash between Vinales and Rins. This Mario got almost a 3-second gap in front to catch on Marquez and Dovi. Don't know how he's going to do that, even with this being quite a long race. There's Petrucci already into 11th from the back. Maybe he fell down at the first corner, virtually. As Petroza up to 7th ahead of Iannone. Letizia ahead of Rabat. Mario looking good. He's in the swing of things now. 1.5 back. He is closing that gap up. There's Alicia Spargo. He had chance. He had hopes of points. But just like his brothers, they were gone. Mario out the final corner across line 29 to almost a second quicker than his previous lap. 1.6 back. The championship rivals in front. Battling a bit of a traction at first sector. That's not the best, as Bernard's ahead of Scott Redding for 17th. Still gains a 10th though. On Marquez. Smiley having to keep it in second gear just to help that tyre wear. He's gained another 10th. So he's gone very wide though. As he rejoins ahead of Petrucci in 9th. Bradley Smith up to 11th. What is going on? The Brits, look at this train behind Zarco. Mario can still get a podium here. Despite a poor mistake there. Just getting too much on the curb. We've seen Mario make mistakes previously this season, such as in America, and still get away with it. As he loses around 4 seconds that lap. So the front end pushing all the time for Mario. Look at it go. He's going to have to hope this bike just switches on in the second half of the race, otherwise he will just be battling for a top 5, not a podium. So you can see a train of bikes in front. The Sacre is getting away in 3rd. What a result that would be on home turf. Look, it's a pretty struggle. It's like wrestling a cat in the bag. Don't ever do that though. He's got Simon ahead of Abraham for 19th. Vinales ahead of Bautista for 11th. Nakagami down in 21st. Remember when he was in the points on the opening lap? It's Mario diving down the inside of Iannone. He's got to make moves like that though if he's going to finish on the podium. And not make moves like that. So Petrucci pushes him wide. So gone to sit flat with this train. Zarco, Miller, Rossi, Lorenzo, Pedrosa, Iannone, Petrucci, McDonald at the back end of it. Look at that move from Petrucci. I guess that's what he tried on the opening lap. Just did not quite work out. Now Mario trying to add to Iannone's disappointment down the inside. The Italian. It's all almost into the back of Petrucci. They had to run very wide in Mario. Look at that gap to 3rd. Look at Zarco fly. They always say home advantage gives you a couple of tenths per lap. Feels like he's giving them a second per lap on that Tech 3. What a ride. Let's look at this battling in front. They're like 3 wide through the chicane. Mario's backed off as he's got Vinales behind in 10th. So battling with Bradley Smith. Remember when he was up in 11th? Battling to be in the points now as Smith. Could be a race for someone who doesn't usually score points to get one. Seen quite a lot of incidents as Mario just a 29.9. That's Rossi ahead of Jack Miller. It's Mario going very wide. Just 3 laps to go. Trying to ride these curves, it's not happening. It's Lorenzo dropping back. Go on, Pedrosa, where are you going? For some reason the braking is just not working on this bike. And what did Mario upgrade the brakes? He goes down the inside of Lorenzo and Pedrosa. Just so you say the brakes don't work. There he goes, making up a couple places up to 7th. That's why, what are you doing, Lorenzo? Trying to body Mario out the way. Just falls by the wayside. Absolute dumbass move. One of the most experienced riders on the grid. So Mario gets past Pedrosa up to 7th. You can see Miller, Rossi. 6th and 5th. Let's go Mario out of the final couple of corners. Was Petrucci in 4th? Remember where he was on the opening lap? That's an amazing comeback ride. Still a fantastic ride from Miller as well. Whatever Petrucci had for breakfast, maybe Mario should have had it as well. You know, he would have been in a comfortable 3rd. Well, it's a mistake maybe, but I say comfortable 3rd. He maybe would have had a race on battle with Sacre for that position. So here he is, battling being a top 5. And this penultimate lap of just a crazy French Grand Prix. We thought Lorenzo's move was maybe the dumbest of the race, but we saw Petrucci get very excited early on. Saw Rins and Vinales take each other out in the battle for 3rd. Here goes Mario over the top. Miller says no. And then you see that move from Mario, which maybe is the top of the dumb moves, as he's probably going to have to settle for 9th now. He's trying to overtake his former teammate as he's a 2nd ever Rins. He's maybe suffering a bit with his bike. So is Mario as well. Bike's just not been there this race. Compared to the Premac from last season, Premac was at times glued around it. It might have been messy, but at least it had that time. This Aprilia just had it in qualifying, not had it in the race at all. Struggling for traction, for grip. Lots for the team to investigate. The debrief after this race. Scott running up to 17th ahead of Franco Morbidelli. They're still battling hard in front. Is that Pedrosa and Vinales? So it goes onto this back straight. We've got Rabat ahead of Redding for 18th. Rabat up to 17th. Maybe Mario's not ready for a champion. You saw his ride in Jerez. Aggressive but controlled. This has just been out of control, this ride. As Dovi wins ahead of Marquez. Finally broke the Honda, but still a fantastic result. And made the biggest cheer for Johan Sacre on the podium on his Tech 3. The biggest cheer maybe for Mario McDonald. There's one average race that was from him. Still the best Aprilia by a country mile though. As Dovi beats Marquez by 2 seconds. Look at Zarco closing in. less than a second behind Marquez, maybe another couple of laps. He could have been in second with Petrucci in fourth from last on the opening lap. Then you've got Rossi, Miller, Vinales after his clash, getting back up to 7th. Pedrosa, McDonald, Rins still got a top 10. Lorenzo, Iannone, Battista, Crutchlow and Surin. On the other Tech 3, what a race for Tech 3. As Bradley Smith missed out on a point by a couple of tenths on his KTM. Rabat, Morbidelli, Scott Redding, Nakagami, Simeon, Abraham, Paul Spargroves are up there in the top 10 early on. Luti and Alicia Spargo in last. As in the Riders' Championship, Mario still leads, but that gap's been significantly closed by Marquez. Just 11 points now. Held the Spaniard, who's just 7 points ahead of Dovizioso. Then it's Rossi ahead of Vinales as they are tied on points. Sacre the big winner though, up 3 places to 6th after a home podium. Drinks on Johan tonight, with Petrucci up a couple places to 8th. Crutchlow down 3 places to 10th. They've got Pedrosa up a couple places to 11th. Iannone down a couple. And Surin up to 17th ahead of Scott Redding. Nakagami into the top 20. Abraham up to 23rd with Xavier Simon in last. On the constructor stand, it is very close at the top. Aprilia just 7 points ahead of Yamaha, just a single point ahead of Honda. And Ducati just 18 points back as well. You got Suzuki and KTM a bit adrift, while Yamaha are up by 7 points ahead of Honda, are closing fast with Ducati in 3rd and Aprilia down to 4th. You got Tech 3 up to 7th after their magnificent weekend ahead of LCR. As for Mario, he achieved all his objectives somehow. He probably did not achieve his own personal objective though of getting on that podium. There goes to Champagne Run. And that's in Champagne region, isn't it? As in Moto2, we've got Alex Marquez ahead of Baldassari and Bagnaia. In Moto3, those count-off enemy overtakes took place as Martin beat Bezzecchi and Bastianini. So in bike development, what does Mario do? He improved the brakes and they went off the cliff. They were absolutely dreadful for him in the race. So maybe he's got to look at something else, maybe aerodynamics. Aerodynamics seem to work pretty well. So does he increase downforce or increase penetration through the air? We are heading to Mugello. Top speed will be vital. But so will getting out of the corners and actually accelerating as there's lots of chicanes. I think that's all he can develop. Is it maybe he could develop the suspension as well? Improve the bike's stability, definitely needs that. So there we go. Almost everything developed apart from the engine. And next time, Mario will be hoping to get back on that podium around one of his favourite circuits in Mugello. The first visit to Italy of the season. So, thanks for watching, and will Mario bounce back next time?